What are you working on?
What? Oh.
Yeah. And is she in the right place?
Yes, that's right.
It is?
I'm trying to soften
Soften that?
that. Yeah.
You mean, oh, the
shadow,
edges, the shadows?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Trying to do that, and
Looks weird.
yeah. Okay. I'll show you how to do that. We need to work on the proportions just a little bit, okay? So a couple things. You've made her a little bit wide.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, you see that.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that in a second, because that's actually a very good question. What's happening here is this needs to come in some, but this needs to come in more. Like, you know, probably, let's see, let's go off this point right here. This point would be about right here, but what's happening here, let's go to, so going from, get down to about here. So if this is this point, right? And so you have the leg, how it kind of like drops down like that, but you have this, you know, the underside of the hip, and then shooting straight up here, you have this part, and it kind of comes, it goes out, and then it comes down like that, right? So you're going to get this width right here. You're going to get 1, 2, and then it's going to drop down. So from here going across here, that's going to be, this is underneath the knee. This is where the kneecap is. The kneecap's about right there, and then it's going to be coming kind of straight up like this. It comes out just a little bit there, like 1, and then it's coming straight up like that, 2, and then you have this piece here, 1, 2, and that's going to give it that gesture. Yours is too straight up and down, but actually, no, you have that here, don't you? You just didn't define that. So that actually is closer than I thought it was, but she is kind of, it seems like she's kind of like leaning back more, but this right here is in the position where it's like locked out more. This is where she's leaning back some. And so this here to, I mean, this is actually pretty close here, but okay, so from right here, you have it coming out too far. So this is probably going to shave in some, this is going to shave in some. And then going across, this line is actually in quite a bit. So if we're coming up, this piece goes over that way, just like a slight bit. This actually comes out some. That actually comes out. That's going to make it locked a little bit more, okay? And it actually might fill out just a little bit here too as well, just a slight bit. And then from here, this is closer than it looked at first, but this part comes in. So essentially these sides come in. This is very close. This just comes out some. And then I think if we're going from here, coming up, and this is going to move. That's going to move, all right? So currently it's in some, but I'm not really going to make you change that. But it does need to get wider, and it is a little bit too long, and it looks partially too long because you have like this piece. Let me see how it looks. I'm going to come around here and actually look. Because now it's kind of at this angle right here because she was rotated a little bit more. So if she was rotated more, like this is where Terry's is right here. This piece is where Terry's is. And then that means this would be over here. Do you see what I'm saying? So if this is here, this actually is going to drop down, I think, just a little bit. Like it drops and it gets wider up top here, I think, is what's happening. Like it kind of thickens up. Like we can see more. She's turned like, okay, so Terry's, it's like she's turned like this, and you can see like a sliver over the shoulder, but yours, the position right now is coming this way. Do you see what I'm saying? So you'd see more of the back that way. But either way, this seems to be, it either needs to fill out there and this like needs to come in some, and this might come in just a little bit as well. All right, so that's going to shift. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that's a lot, and do you want me to, I feel like she was probably turned more. You want me to turn her some up there and just a little bit like that? Is that how she was? Because now, I think that's the position.
Just say something.
That's more of the
Yeah, I think
position. That's it?
A little bit closer.
Okay.
Scoliosis?
Maybe slightly less.
Slightly less.
I feel like I just didn't.
We'll see the breast
Yeah,
there.
you
Look
said
at
out
this.
of line,
The
yeah.
breast, you have the breast in that position.
I don't, not that I'm aware of.
So you have a couple different positions.
Okay. Yeah.
So what you got to do is just
Oh,
pick a
that's what
position.
you-
It's hard. You know what to do.
Got it.
Pick a position and just
I'm
go
clear
with it.
now.
All right, so if that's it, yeah, this definitely comes in. This is way too thick. That comes into about like right there. Defining this is really going to help.
Okay.
Because that just like, you know, that wasn't working. That comes in some, this comes in. So,
Is that up here?
No, that's my phone.
Oh.
It's
and
like
one thing you can do is like
coconut.
when you plumb line up, this line is almost directly above. So this actually does come in significantly right there. And then this is making more sense in the back, which does fill out just a little bit, right? That does fill out a little bit. This comes in some, okay? And then this right here cuts about right there, and then that gives this angle right here. Like that's that angle there, and then this does actually come over that way. That's where this is cutting off, right there. And then so let me show you how that is. This is weird. This is very weird. Okay, let's start. So say from like the buttocks area right there, it's kind of coming up like here. I'll draw it over here on this side for you so you can see it. Okay, so the buttocks area right there, it's kind of coming up like that, right? And then that's her back, it kind of swoops up. And her hand, this is where her wrist is resting on it. And if we're looking, I'm just gonna like softly draw this in. It's kind of like it's the elbow's right there. Sorry, this is like this side, the other side of the elbow. It's right there. And then I'm establishing the wrist. Is about that wide. And then the forearm, it kind of, this is how it looks. The forearm kind of like this, that's this part right there. And then it does one of these things. It cuts about like that. Do you see what I'm saying? And then this is what I'm looking at. That from here to there, going into that and then going across, and then you have that piece right there, which I kind of blur my eyes to do that, and you can get the details later. Does that make sense? Okay. So from here, we're going to arch up, and that's the bone right there. That's the bone in the light, and that's coming up. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At that angle right there. And then this right here is in the shadow. And that's kind of coming up to the shoulder right there. And then that's this piece right here, the breast. Like the breast part's right there. This is the shadow right there. And it's kind of like the elbow shadow is kind of coming at this angle right here, one. And then it kind of comes up like that. So it's something like that. And this might fill out just a little bit. Something like that. And then the hand is resting. Just do this. Say from there, baseball glove mitt down to there, pinky, hands kind of resting like that. So it's like, okay. And this is the thumb right there. That's the thumb. Something like that, right? It's resting on her like this, and the butt kind of curves down like that. Okay, so that's how we get that. How we get the soft part right here. Normally when I'm, like this is good. You're trying to shoot for defined shapes. But two things. Number one, when you define those shapes, you can use variations of lines. So like if I'm doing this line, I'll show you here. I'll show you right here. Okay? So this right here is the shoulder kind of coming up. And this is going to be a soft edge right here. See, so I'm just kind of brushing it in. Okay? And then this piece right here, let's define it a little bit more than I have it. So there's kind of a line coming like this. It kind of comes up like that. And then we can shape it. And I'm working in kind of generalities. I'm being specific. But do you see how we're just kind of like very lightly shaping these lines here? And then from here, this is kind of where it kind of goes up into the breast. How much time do we have, Terry?
14 and a half.
14 and a half, perfect. Okay, so then I'm just going to soften this right there. And then from here, like this is where the breast is. It's kind of coming out that way. You see that? That's the breast. It's kind of, that's that piece right there. And then we have this piece right here, which is soft. And so I'm just blurring this out just a little bit, but it's still a defined line. you see what I'm saying? Going down, so like if this is the elbow, then the hip, there's that light piece that kind of comes down like that. It's something like that. So now when we're shadowing, this isn't bad technique, but you want to be a little bit more precise in your shading, right? You don't need to spend all day doing this. But just coming across. All right? And filling in those light shapes as much as you can, something like that. You step back. So now this is a soft line. It is, and if you want it softer, you can kind of bring it out like that. You can do this. You can even, and you can go across like this, but it's easier. I find just a simple hatching at this stage goes a little bit longer, or further rather, than going and shaving it down like that. And if you want, you can kind of do one of those things where it kind of, you can bring it up a little bit like that some too, just a little bit. But now that is soft, and so then we can come like crossways like that. See, so that's soft, and if you want to accent or whatever, you can just come in and put those marks, and and by contrast or whatever, you have these other marks up top and stuff. How it falls. So that's how you do it. You just take your time, and you're still drawing straight lines, but you're not rushing. You don't want to space your lines like really fast. Okay. You don't necessarily need to go fast. You see how I'm doing this? I'm gliding. This is how I'm holding the pencil. I'm holding it like this. If you hold it up close and try to do these lines, it's going to be very hard. If it's braced like this, if you hold it out and use this kind of to skate across like this, and you see my arm, how it's moving. You see? And for the most part, I mean, I sometimes I'll curve a little bit like that just to get the basic general impression, but I just take my time with it. Do you see what I'm saying? Take your time. And, if you need to also, you can come in here and kind of lightly clean it up some. I'm barely touching the paper, but you step back and that does turn. You can start putting accents on, but that's how I do that shadow. Does that help?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Good. And there's other things, but I think you see them. Just fix those proportions.
Yeah.
And just fix that for now. Just fix those things for now. Think about her body type. And again, I want you trying to pick, I know it's hard because on women they're curvy, but pick points, especially like, find the point, like this point to, this point here. This is hard. This is hard. Like this part right here, for example, like the breast right here, it'd be kind of coming down into the belly button here. That would be the belly button area right there like that. And then you have, normally what's happening, you have this, it's kind of like a shelf. It's like one, and then it kind of comes down. But if you can find those points and draw with straight lines and just be patient, you'll get it, okay? If you get those points, you'll be able to use those points to measure off of other points. All right, good.
Okay.
You!
What did I do this time?
I set the camera up. What didn't you do?